Hi guys. I get asked about my work studio all the time, so I thought I would give you guys a quick tour of the Mimi G style offices. I have a studio in downtown Los Angeles, and this is usually where you'll find me if I'm not sewing, designing, pattern making, creating, at my desk trying to answer emails, work on presentations, scheduling, which is one of the main things that we do around here, and then looking through magazines and finding inspiration on a daily. Then of course we have chairs for staff and computers, although most of us work on our laptops. And then we have our kitchenette area. And this is just sort of where we sit and eat lunch. We have snacks and, I guess the basics, a microwave and fridge and nothing really special, I guess. We usually sit here, we're not eating lunch out. And then this is sort of where I take meetings, or we have internal meetings, or sometimes I just need to vent, or delegate, or just sort of bounce ideas off of each other. So we sort of do it in this area here. And then, I have, these are my pattern books. So I'm gonna show you guys how I store my patterns because I get asked about this all the time. So what I do is I have, every time I buy new patterns, I have April take them and put them into these binders. And I'll show you exactly what we do with the inside of the patterns. So the pattern envelope goes in here, and then the inside of the pattern we sort of store away, and we have a little system that I use to sort of locate whatever pattern I'm looking for at the moment. So, and then the rest is just office stuff, supplies and whatever. We have a record player. So we have a record player. April loves records. She's a big vinyl fan. So we actually don't use it as much as we should, but we do have one. And then we have, classics like TLC. This is where we hang projects and patterns that we're working on. So whenever we have new patterns in development or we're testing, we always hang them so that we can easily get to them. And oftentimes, because we have to make more than one sample, so we keep them hanging because it's easy to access. And then we just make sure that we label everything so that we can find it. And then we have this table. These are all sewing machines. And we use them for workshops. A lot of times if we're doing events somewhere and we need machines, I always have at least 8 or 9 machines on hand in the office that we can always use. And these are not the machines I sew with, but they're different variations of machines. So we have like a mid-level, a high level, and then a lower level machine that everyone can use. Behind, or in front of me I should say, is where we do a lot of in-house photo shoots if we need backgrounds, and then we have different colors that we sort of put up as we need them, lights, and my bookshelves where I have all my books and all my sort of pattern making books and construction books. Then we have my caddy. So this is my favorite caddy, right? This is where I keep all the patterns that I'm either currently working on or that I plan to sew soon. And it gets more and more packed as I don't sew them because I get so busy. I don't always have a lot of time to sew. But these are all the ones I intend on sewing. And then what happens is if too much time passes, I'll just go through and say, yeah, I don't feel like making those anymore. I put them away, and then I pull new stuff that I want to make. And so that's what this is. And then I just use this to pin inspiration or tear sheets from magazines, whatever I'm currently obsessing with. And so we have this huge cutting. We have 2 cutting tables. We have this cutting table, and then we have this cutting table, which is 12 feet long. And I love this cutting table because I don't have to move my fabric. I can lay out the entire thing, lay out all of the pattern pieces, and everything fits. And that makes my life a whole lot easier. It's super sturdy. And I have it covered in muslin, and also inside of it I have padding. And the reason I do that is because, one, I can pin directly into it if I need to, and also I can iron on it. So it makes it like a really gigantic ironing board on top of that. So this is one of my pattern books. Let me show you really quickly. So we put them in here usually by category and then by pattern company. And so these are all dresses, and I have thousands of patterns. And so the only way to really be able to find it is I have April take the insides out and put them in a separate envelope, in a little manila envelope, and we label it with the pattern number and the pattern company. And then I have her take those patterns that are in the manila envelopes, and I have her put them in alphabetical order, or numerical order I should say, in these file boxes. And so then whenever I need a pattern, I could just say, oh, I need 6693 from Berta, and I can go to the pattern boxes and pull that box. So that's what these are. So I have the pattern boxes, and they're all labeled inside so that I can sort of look through, and she puts whatever numerical order is for new look in the box, and so I can just see, oh, that's not the box I need, and it makes it a whole lot easier. Now, I have all of those boxes, but then we ran out of boxes, so I also then use these drawers. So both of these drawers that you see here are all filled with patterns, and so I could look through my book and say, oh, I need to find Vogue 1320, Vogue 1399, and so all of these drawers are all filled with patterns. And I have this dresser and that dresser too, so there's no shortage of patterns. I have my TV. I always have to have a TV, no matter what. I mean, it doesn't matter where my office is. I always have to have a television because I need sound when I'm sewing. Sometimes I like music, so I just listen to music, but sometimes I just like to hear people talking in the background, and so I turn the TV on, and it's usually on Viceland or some kind of true crime, Dateline or something. I don't know. That's what I listen to, Netflix, and I just let it play in the background. Sometimes creating for me is a sort of a solitary thing, and if I have people in the office, I like to sort of pretend that I'm here by myself. So I'll put my headphones in and listen to my podcast, and then I just sort of sew and create, and it makes me feel like I'm by myself here, when I'm not. So here's usually where you guys will see me film. So this is usually my background when I'm filming, and it's just threads and buttons and more patterns and sort of all the notions that we have on my rulers. That sort of all stays here, and everything's very organized, so I can always find it, buckles and pins and buttons and snaps. And so this is just more notions, papers. So these are my machines. This is the Destiny, my Baby Lock Destiny, which is like my baby. I love her very, very much. And then this is the Ovation, although I did just get a new Triumph. Thank you, Baby Lock, for my Triumph. And so I just haven't had time to switch out. But I think I'm going to end up putting my Triumph serger here and then putting the Ovation over in the workstation area so that others can use it. And then I also have the Imagine, which was my serger before I upgraded to the Ovation. And this is the Crescendo Baby Lock, which is also when I upgraded, I went from the Crescendo to the Destiny. So, but I have them all here, so if I need a machine, I have more than I need on hand at any time. This is all my fabric, so I get asked about this a lot. And I roll them up because it's easy for me to get to, right? So I have them by category. So these are all sort of stretch wovens. These are all stretch wovens. These are non-stretch. These are knits. So I try to keep everything together sort of in a category. And then I don't know if you guys might have seen it or not on my Instagram, but I'll show you. So what I do is when I buy fabric, I take a little swatch, I cut it out, and I put it into I staple it onto an index card, and I write down exactly how much I bought and what it is. And so the reason I do that is because I don't want to have to unroll everything, and I'm certainly not going to remember how much I bought of whatever fabric is in here. So I can just sort of pull out my little index card thing, Rolodex that I have here, and I can look for it. And it'll tell me, oh, I bought 4 yards and it's 58 inches wide. And so then I know exactly how much I have on hand. And I do that for all my fabrics. So on the top here, you'll see I have a whole lot of fake fur, and all of these are either linings or some sort of interfacing that we have. There's a lot of notions in here, so you know, serger threads and all. I find little cubbies and holes to put everything in because I like to be really organized, so I don't like a whole lot of things to be visible, and so if things get too cluttered, I can't work. And so I sort of have to have everything organized and clean, sort of like in your house if you're gonna cook. Well, I don't know, maybe not you, but me, if I go to cook, I can't cook unless my kitchen is clean, even though I'm about to dirty it. And so that's sort of the way I am in the studio. So, you know, everyone knows that if I come in and things are out of order or messy or whatever, everybody has to stop and clean up and organize and get everything together, and then I can start my work day. So that's pretty much it. This is, you know, my mirror where I look at myself as I'm sewing. So I make something and then I look in the mirror to make sure everything is looking the way it's supposed to. This is my industrial Jukey, and she's designed specifically for leathers and really heavy fabrics. I've had her now for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months, and I haven't used her yet. I had a couple of industrial machines many moons ago, and then during some of my moves I just sort of let go of them because I wasn't sewing on them that much. But because I want to start doing a whole lot more leather, and this is so much easier to do a heavy wool coat or a leather bag or really anything that's of a heavier material. So I'm going to use her. I just haven't done it yet. And that's it. So this is where I guess the magic happens, right? And where I do most of my work. So I hope this sort of answered a little bit of your questions, or satisfied your curiosity about where I do everything that we do at Mimi G Style. So thanks for hanging with me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.